Donetsk front, Pokrovsk direction. A group of Ukrainian forces infantrymen were hiding in a ruined building in the village of Udakhny. Russian fiber-optic drones first destroyed the building. The Russian Defense Ministry reported that Russian armed forces' air defense systems destroyed and intercepted 86 Ukrainian-type UAVs overnight. Additionally, it was reported that reconnaissance units affiliated with the Zapad group shot down 13 Lyuty UAVs flying to various regions of Russia in the LPR using light weapons. According to a statement from the Russian Ministry of Defense, Western forces destroyed enemy personnel, equipment, and positions using kamikaze drones and 2 S-19 MSTAs self-propelled howitzers in the Special Operations Zone. Objective footage of Russian forces' activities. Moments working alongside the 136th Motorized Rifle Brigade. The soldiers spotted the drone from a distance and quickly stopped the vehicle, destroying the enemy drone in midair in a matter of seconds before continuing on their way.
Don't forget to leave your opinion about the video in the comments, subscribe, and like.
Не успел, ебать, только прицелился.
A drone attack on a pickup truck carrying dry cargo toward the port. The infantrymen spotted the Russian drone at the last moment and managed to escape. Kherson front. Objective control of combat operations conducted by artillery units of the 18th Airborne Division, Dnipro, at positions identified by the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Korabel Island. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. The Russian armed forces launched a new joint attack against military targets in various regions of Ukraine simultaneously. Explosions were heard in the Dnipropetrovsk, Khmelnytsky, Zhytomyr, Lviv, Cherkasy, Kharkiv, Kiev regions, and Zaporizhzhia. The targets hit included military airfields, railway infrastructure, and businesses operating in the interests of the Ukrainian armed forces. The images show the results of an attack on a target in the Kiev region. The Ukrainian armed forces destroyed an American International Mach Pro armored vehicle using KVN fiber-optic FPV drones in the Sumy region. Soldiers of the 102nd Regiment of the 150th Motorized Rifle Division of the 8th Guards, Combined Arms Army of the Russian Armed Forces, are clearing positions from the Ukrainian Armed Forces infantry. Some of the Ukrainian infantry cannot withstand the intensity of the fire and decide to surrender, thus saving their own lives. In the meantime, you can use YouTube Super Thank You to support us and our content. We need it to continue with our videos. Russian reconnaissance drone operators revealed the reinforcement group of the Ukrainian armed forces. After precisely calculating the coordinates, the aircraft type UAV was activated and dealt a hard blow to the position. The position and equipment were destroyed. Dnipropetrovsk region. A reconnaissance drone belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces was detected in the air and destroyed by a fiber optic drone. Subsequently, the command center of the Ukrainian Armed Forces UAV Control Center was destroyed by Russian fiber optic drones. The Ukrainian Armed Forces reported that a missile attack was carried out by the Iskander-M mobile missile system on a drone control center located at an airfield in the Kharkiv region. Sumy region. An Iskander ballistic missile with a cluster warhead appears to have struck a drone crew position at an airfield near the town of Krolovets, at least 53 kilometers from the Russian border. The Russian aerospace forces are shown attacking a drone position near the village of Voronezh, at least 45 kilometers from the Russian border, using a Kh-35U anti-ship missile. Violent clashes continue in the Kharkiv region. A Russian fiber-optic Novgorod Prince Vandal FPV drone destroyed the shelters of the Ukrainian armed forces one by one. Arrival of a Molnia-type attack UAV belonging to the Russian armed forces at Ukrainian positions in the direction of Konstantinovsky. Russian armed forces soldiers are using restored Ukrainian drones to deliver water, cigarettes, and supplies to the front lines.
4 километра. Попробуем. Утащит, не утащит. Их хваленный шрайк от LMUR дронс. Пацаны водички побьют и дадут вам пизды.
A sailor from the 382nd Battalion of the Sever Guard Regiment, together with Ukrainian Armed Forces soldiers, destroys a position by approaching it with grenade launchers during the liberation of Kurilovka. In recent months, the Russian army has continued to establish a buffer zone in the Sumy region after liberating the Kursk region. An archive image from the time when the Kursk region was liberated. Russian Garans visited the Lyut military unit in Stepanivka, Donetsk Oblast, and effectively destroyed the place where the soldiers were hiding. Russian fighters first launched an FPV drone attack on a Ukrainian forces shelter. The drone's impact caused a powerful explosion. Then, a Russian fighter threw a backpack filled with anti-tank mines into the shelter, completely destroying it. Fighters belonging to the 16th Special Forces Brigade destroyed a Ukrainian mortar in the Monokhinovka region. Footage of the 57th Guards Motorized Rifle Brigade of the 5th Army's assault units liberating the village of Shevchenko. Here we see a motorcyclist racing through a minefield and motorized infantry dismounting from MTLB vehicles, running toward buildings, and then rushing to clear the area. The footage also shows men who were unlucky enough not to surrender or evacuate the village in time. The strongholds of the 2nd Battalion of the 141st Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine were destroyed by the 11th Guards Army of the Air Force and FABs of the Air Defense Forces. The Russian armed forces destroyed a temporary staging area belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces near Chevchenko in Donetsk. Kharkiv region. Archival footage. Scouts from the 128th Motorized Rifle Brigade of the 44th Army shoot Ukrainian Armed Forces soldiers digging under a railway bridge. A compilation of attacks carried out by FPV drones by various units in the Voskresenka regions. Operators from the 14th Guards Special Forces Brigade, 336th Guards Naval Brigade, and 5th Guards Tank Brigade are destroying Ukrainian Armed Forces vehicles in the 36th Army's area of responsibility. Kupiansk direction. A Russian drone capable of dropping ammunition dropped an incendiary bomb on a shelter where Ukrainian infantrymen were located, and soldiers who were about to be poisoned by smoke came out of the shelter one by one, dizzy. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. Arrival of the Girani at the Konotop aircraft repair facility in the Sumy region. It is noteworthy that reconnaissance drones can fly more than 70 km deep into the front line. An example of coordinated work by tank crews was demonstrated by tankers from the 37th Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade of the Vostok Military Group. During an attack on the defending enemy, the crew fired while on the move. This requires special professional skills. The warriors' mission was to suppress the activities of the Ukrainian forces at one of their most important strongholds in the southern Donetsk direction. Russian infantry faced enemy units in machine gun nests, mortar positions, and armored vehicles hiding in the forest. As a bonus, it is worth noting that fire from a moving tank has a powerful demoralizing effect on enemy personnel, both effective and impressive. The 83rd Airborne Guard Brigade Paratroopers' objective: attack the enemy fortress in the Sumy region using FAB 1500 and UMPC. Objective monitoring of the destruction of Ukrainian forces' shelters using FPV drone calculations by paratroopers in the direction of Zaporizhia. A group of prisoners of war belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces was captured in the Serebryansky forest. Kharkiv front. A Ukrainian armed forces Mavic drone landed near the checkpoint. Russian intelligence could not ignore such a blatant violation and relayed the coordinates to the Air Force. The Air Force destroyed the checkpoint in the village of Tokarevka with a precise LMUR strike. Near the village of Ivanivka in Donbass, Rubicon combat groups and UAV units affiliated with the 29th Army detected a T-80BV tank belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces. The target coordinates were relayed to the Zala Lancet crew at Rubicon. The tank was destroyed. Russian aviation found another location where Ukrainian forces were stationed in the village of Antonivka in the Kherson region. The rotary wing aircraft destroyed this position with an X-39 LMUR strike. Soldiers from the 16th Special Forces Brigade shot a Ukrainian soldier in Kupiansk as he fired at a Russian drone. The arrival of 305 LMUR products in color via the Ukrainian Armed Forces PVD towards Kherson